love to take a big stuffed picnic sandwich with us if we're stopping on the roadside on the way to a camping trip, or once we get there for an easy camping meal. Select your family's favorite meats and cheeses, but always start with a nice big loaf, either an oblong loaf or a round one. Make sure it has a nice fluffy interior, but a firm enough crust so it won't get squished in your picnic basket or your cooler. After you slice the top off of the loaf, you'll start pulling out the inside. Make sure to reserve it because you'll use a little bit of it later. You want to try and pull the bread out fairly close to the outside crust, but you don't want to poke all the way through. And make sure you slice a little bit off the top as well. Next, you're going to spread pesto all around the inside of the loaf, as well as on the underside of the top of the loaf. Just spread an even layer around. It'll soak into the bread nicely, and you can use any kind of pesto you like. It could be basil, arugula, sun-dried tomato, whatever your family prefers. Next, our family likes to add a layer of olive paste or olive tapenade. Sometimes we use muffaletta or olive salad. If you don't really like olives that well, you could try using sun-dried tomatoes. Just make sure it's fairly pureed and fairly dry. Now you begin adding slices of cheese. You really want to press it in and create a barrier between the outer layers of spreads and the inner layers of meats. We find what works best are slices of Havarti, provolone, Monterey Jack, Swiss, Jarlsberg, even Gouda. In the middle are layers of deli-sliced meats. We like to use 3 to 4 different kinds. We also like to use roasted red peppers that we've patted nice and dry, and sometimes we add hot peppers as well. What you don't want to use are fresh items that will become mushy over a couple of days. Things like sliced tomatoes or avocados. You want to keep it things that have a firm enough skin that they'll hold up. If there's still room in the loaf and all of the meats have been used up, then take some of the bread you reserved and tear it into little bits. Mix it in with a little bit of pesto or maybe a little olive oil and use it as another layer in your picnic. When the loaf is nice and full and really packed down, then add your final layer of cheese, making sure to tuck it in neatly all around. Once the lid is back in place, press everything down so it's nice and tight. Now you're going to wrap it up in several layers of plastic wrap. You want it sealed up really well, and then wrap it again in another bag. Let this sit overnight in your refrigerator at a minimum, and it will keep up to 3 days in a cooler or a fridge. When you're ready to eat, slice it up and enjoy.